This is the oldest customer complaint in human history. It was pressed into clay 3,700 years ago in the city of Ur, and it describes a scam so familiar you could file it with the FTC tomorrow. A merchant named Ea Nasir promised premium copper. He delivered garbage, and when the buyer complained, his response was, roughly translated, take it or leave it. So today we're asking a bigger question. When did humans start stealing from each other, and why are we still falling for it? For most of human history, there was almost nothing worth stealing at scale. Hunter-gatherers owned tools, ornaments, maybe a good spear, but if you couldn't carry it, you couldn't hoard it. Survival ran on sharing, and researchers who study forager societies have documented how ruthlessly groups punished food-sharing cheats. Get caught freeloading, and you risk exile. Exile meant death. Then, roughly 10,000 years ago, we stopped moving. We started farming, and for the first time, a human being could have a surplus. Granaries full of wheat, fences around cattle, wealth that sat still, and where there's a surplus, there's temptation. Call it the property paradox. The moment we invented ownership, we accidentally invented the thief. Back to our friend Ea Nasir. Around 1750 BCE, a customer named Nani paid for high-grade copper. What arrived was subpar ore. When Nani's messenger showed up to complain, Ea Nasir shrugged him off, and apparently did this to multiple customers because archaeologists found a whole room of complaint tablets in his house. Now, put on the forensic accountant hat for a second. Strictly speaking, this is a contract dispute. Misrepresentation of goods, the ancient version of breaching a rep and warranty, but the mechanism underneath it is the mechanism of every fraud since. Ea Nasir knew the quality of the copper. Nani didn't and couldn't verify it until the shipment arrived and the money was gone. The seller had the information, the buyer had the risk. That gap, information asymmetry, is the load-bearing wall of every Ponzi scheme, every pump and dump, every rug pull you'll ever see. The product changes, the gap doesn't. So why does the same trick keep working for 3,700 years? Many researchers argue it comes down to how we evolved. Humans spent millennia in small trust circles, groups where everyone knew everyone, and a cheater's reputation followed him for life. In that world, defaulting to trust was efficient, cheating was self-limiting because cheaters got exiled, but then cities happened, trade routes happened. Suddenly we were doing deals with total strangers, and our tribe-sized trust wiring never got the update. Scammers don't just steal your money, they exploit a verification gap your instincts were never built to check. Your gut says, he seems trustworthy. Your gut was calibrated for a village of 150 people. Once the first thief appeared, society needed a shield. Ancient rulers didn't have forensic accountants, so they used terror. Under Hammurabi's code, stealing from a temple carried the death penalty. Here's the twist. Brutal punishment didn't end theft. It was just selected for smarter thieves, and so began an arms race that has never stopped. Coins were invented to standardize value, so thieves invented clipping, shaving slivers of gold off the edges. Milled edges and paper money answered clipping, so criminals invented counterfeiting. Banks and wire transfers answered counterfeiting, and gave us wire fraud. And when crypto promised to remove the middleman entirely, we got rug pulls, the same Ea Nasir move running on a blockchain. Every financial solution creates a new surface for the predatory mind. The tools evolve, the gap stays. So when did we start stealing? The honest answer, the moment there was something worth owning and one person knew more than the other. Fraud isn't a glitch in our system. It's a shadow of ownership itself. And it's been following us since the first granary, which means the defense hasn't changed in 3,700 years either. Here's the forensic takeaway. Information asymmetry is the tell. Before you send money to anyone, a broker, an exchange, a guy with premium copper, ask one question. Can I independently verify what he's telling me? If the answer is no, you're not investing. You're trusting. And trust is exactly what the Ea Nasirs of the world are selling. If you can't verify it, you can't trust it. See you in the next file.